Thank you very much, Paul. Can I acknowledge, of course, Andrew and Maria, great to have you as co-chairs of the EU-Australia Friendship Group. Can I acknowledge other ministerial colleagues that are here? I see Peter Dutton at the back of the room, other members of the Coalition and the Opposition that are here this evening, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, and of course Ambassador Fabrizi. It's terrific to be here with you this evening. There is a very heavy representation of Italians here tonight, and that's not a bad thing. But I'm not sure, maybe that is the reason, Paul. I guess time will tell. But can I just say, on behalf of the Australian government, our very warm congratulations on this, what is a very important day. The fact is, if you look back over European history, if you go back past 60 years, we all know that it's an incontrovertible fact that for hundreds and hundreds of years, Europe was mired in chaos and war and conflict. And from that, the most extraordinary thing emerged. To actually have people from the disparate groups of countries that came together with a central vision to be able to harmonise the people of Europe into a common bloc, even before we get into issues of a common market or the free flow of capital, but to actually move with a vision that extended beyond what has historically always been the case, to actually realise a consensus view that Europe stood stronger together, united, than it was to be internally divided, was an incredible vision. And so, on this, the 60th anniversary of the Treaties of Rome, it is appropriate that we should pause and reflect. It is appropriate that we should recognise what it took to overcome what would have been very significant amounts of inertia contained in large pockets throughout Europe. And it's no surprise, therefore, that even today there should still be questions asked about the European Union, what its future looks like, and whether or not it is a long-term solution for Europe. And that should surprise no one. Even here in Australia, the federation that we are, I know we regularly have discussions about the relevance of states and whether or not one state or a part of a state wants to succeed at some point or another. So is it any wonder if we do that within Australia, that similar discussions would be had in Europe, given the history of Europe? So I do believe that a 60th anniversary like this is one that's worth pausing and reflecting on. But we also need to be mindful that there are acute challenges that are faced not just in Europe but around the world. But I'm a fundamental believer that it is through the challenge that's issued by people, the calls that are made, that we find the greatest opportunity for Europe to find its voice, to continue to be a unifying factor for the people of Europe. Because the fact is that the last 60 years have seen incredible prosperity, stability and peace on continental Europe that has been unmatched in Europe's history, brought about by one thing and one thing alone, and that is the vision and the creation of the European Union. So in going forward, Australia is certainly very excited at the prospects of having a closer trade and investment relationship in the future. We, of course, have in the European bloc our second largest trading partner. We have in the European bloc our largest source market for investment and one of our largest destination markets for Australian investment abroad. We have two highly mature and developed economies. We've got companies that are engaged in global trade and global investment that rely on the generation of intellectual property in Europe and here in Australia and the sharing of that knowledge, and that will underpin the future growth for both of our continents. This government is unapologetically pro-free trade and liberalised trade. And I'm very pleased that Europe has a similar outlook, because we often find strength from the Europeans and the Australians in the international fora where we engage on the benefits of free and liberalised trade. And those voices are required now more than ever. We know that there'll be those who'll question whether or not they've seen the dividend that flows from free and liberalised trade, and they're right to do that. They've got every reason to ask those questions. But equally, we have a very proud history and track record of demonstrating why it is that free and liberalised trade has delivered the prosperity that not only Australians, but indeed around the world, that we've enjoyed. Incumbent upon each of us will continue to be the need to be strong ambassadors and advocates about why that must continue. And to make the point the Prime Minister has made here in Australia about why protectionism is nothing more than digging yourself into a future of lower levels of prosperity. In terms of Europe, I look forward to constructive and active engagement as we reach the concluding stages of our scoping study on a possible Australia-EU FTA. There's no doubt that if we're able to put in place a strong foundation stone to commence our negotiations, that we will, and I hope in a very speedy amount of time, be able to negotiate an FTA that's going to be mutually prosperous. That ultimately is what drives our desire to achieve these outcomes, and what I'm, and I know Cecilia Malmström, are both very focused on achieving, because fundamentally, for both the people of Europe and for Australia, it's what we want to deliver and what our people expect us to deliver on their behalves. So could I just conclude by saying that the European experiment has been an incredibly successful one. In what has been, at times, some dark periods over history, it does stand out as a shining beacon of what can be achieved when we overcome adversity and focus on what unites us and the combined strength that can be delivered through being able to bring people together with a common vision. In this day, when we continue to see some challenges that are put forward, I hope that people will remain very focused on what it is that Europe's delivered and not forget the lessons that we've seen, especially in some of the world's darkest days like the Second World War. Because the fundamental fact is, if we are to avoid protectionism and nationalism, which were in many respects the precursors of some of our darkest days, then the only way that we can achieve that is through having a strong gaze on what it was, the peace dividend, the stability dividend that the European Union provided the world. So with those few remarks, congratulations, Sam, in particular, through you, on this, the 60th commemoration, and I hope you all have a great night.